Hi, and welcome to another edition of Vintage Fashion Hat Chat. I'm Norma Shepherd, the director of the Mobile Millinery Museum and the author of 5 books on vintage fashion, including 1,000 hats. If you're new to the channel, this is home for people who love hats and all things vintage. We discuss where to find vintage hats, how to date them, what to wear them with, how to clean them, how to store them, all kinds of trivia about how they were made, why they look the way they do, iconic fashions, hat fashions of different eras. So if you have any suggestions, questions, or ideas about what you'd like to see on this channel, please let me know in the comments. What I want to talk about today is the movie, it was called And the Angels Sing. So that's from 1944. Edith Head was the costume designer. And there's some great hats, particularly in the beginning of this movie, that help us date and differentiate some pieces from mid-1940s. So the film was released in 1944. The fashions follow on some very iconic styles from the late 1930s, but these are a little distinctive. And as with all theatrical millinery, in other words, hats made for theater, for films, for the stage, they help tell the story. So I want to talk about the halo hats that we see in the beginning of the film. So when we're introduced to the main characters, these 4 sisters whose surname is Angel, we find them walking in formation. At least 3 of them are, but the 4th, she's a bit of a free spirit. So the hats help tell that story. So I want to show you some examples from the Mobile Millinery Museum that are very similar to the halo hats that we see 3 of the sisters wear in the beginning of the film. The first one is a felt, and even though it's a summer scene, oftentimes felts were worn in the 30s. So this style, if you've seen some of my videos about the late 1930s hats, you'll be familiar with the idea of the shallow crown and also the crown that slips to the back. So hats pretty much in the late 1930s were worn on the back of the head, and this kind of morphed into the 40s as well. So I'm going to turn it around, and it's a hat that's worn flat at the back and will create this wonderful halo effect. You've probably seen vintage baby bonnets that look like this, but these were shown on 3 young women, and it frames the face. It gives a beautiful halo effect, as you can see, and that of course helps tell the story that these are angels. Now I've done a little bit of examination of this hat. I'm not sure as to whether the grosgrain ribbon was original to the piece, because there seems to be a glob of glue under the ribbon, so this might have been added later by the original owner. I don't think the hat needs the ribbon, and a well-made hat wouldn't normally be put together with glue, especially in the 1940s. So here's the first one. Lovely piece. And maybe I should give you an idea as to how they're worn. So when it sits on the back of the head, you can see that it does create a halo, and you've got a nice profile with this. And of course, anyone looking at you from behind has this lovely view. Beautiful self fabric bow and a couple of feathers. And there is the chignon strap, which so many of these hats had. So these hats could have been worn with the strap under the hair. I want to show you another one. Lovely, just beautiful halo hat. This crown is very, very shallow, and it's a beautiful straw. The hat has some little velvet covered clips, some wire inside to secure it in place. You can see this lovely adornment. This is quite a fancy one. Might have been a bride's going away hat from that era. You can see the set in rhinestones, the little plastic beads. It gives us such a beautiful, beautiful summer look. So the way this one sat, we can find from the center back, the way it's constructed. And once again, you have this lovely halo effect that frames the face. And when you look at it from behind, this is what you see. And if you're seated, then the viewers get a view of this adornment along the brow. So it was, you'll see if you check out that movie, and I will timestamp where you're going to see these hats in the film, but you'll see how, you know, this just created this angelic effect with the three sisters walking with the similarly shaped, but, you know, distinctly different halo hats. Now here's another one. This one is nice loose weave straw. The crown is shallow again, and it's made from a different type of straw, and interestingly a little bit of the brim is turned up at the back, so this is not going to interfere with, you know, putting your head back or with your clothing. So another lovely straw. This one is navy, and it too would give you this beautiful halo effect around your face. Now, this was such a popular style that it was carried through to the later 40s, and sometimes variations of it were made in the 50s as well. Now, this one is a Milan straw, beautiful shallow crown again. You've got the coral colored rose and the coral colored veiling. It too has a chignon strap securing it, and then again you have the halo effect. This one could also be worn tilted a little forward if you want, so a little bit of variety in that. So I would remind you, if you throughout these videos, if you see any pieces that you're interested in, please email me. My email address will be in the description box. We do deaccession pieces from time to time, so let me know if you're interested, and we can talk about it. So I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, please hit like, subscribe, share, and we'll see you for another hat chat. I post Mondays and Thursdays. Have a hatty day.